Give me a kiss to build a dream on, and my imagination will thrive upon that kiss. Sweetheart, I ask no more than this, a kiss to build a dream on. Give me a kiss before you leave me, and my imagination will feed my hungry heart. Do, 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 do. Leave me one thing before we part, a kiss to build a dream on.
Might we develop an artificial consciousness at some point? Well, we'd have to know a lot more than we do now to do that.
And if it was to develop a consciousness, I mean, we say it's a faculty of awareness as objectivists, but you're even deepening it to this sort of self-awareness, this sort of inner experience that we have. If that develops, do these pieces of technology have rights?
Well, if it developed a volitional conceptual consciousness, it would have the conditions required for rights. Let me put it this way. It would have one of the main conditions required for rights. What would be the end to giving it this thing but its own survival? For example, we're going back to the survive on yourself. The purpose, the reason why we have consciousness is as a tool of survival. Our consciousness evolved like our stomachs as tools of as a tool of survival. So you say, what is the point? What would be the function of giving this thing its own self-awareness? It would have to be a self-directed entity with a conditional life that it wants to keep. When you got both of those features, now you have ethics, the conditions for ethics, and the conditions for the rights that a conceptual volitional being requires. Mm-hmm. So if we did develop a robot that was conceptual, volitional, and could act to further its own continued existence, then it would have the factual preconditions that we as objectivists say generate ethics. It would not be an ethical agent until it reached that point. But when it reached that point of being an ethical agent like a human, if we could in effect reproduce a human being artificially, yes, absolutely it would have rights, because our rights are a matter of those factual conditions. Does my survival require a specific course of action? And do I have a volitional conceptual consciousness, which is my tool for achieving that? Then yeah, you'd have the conditions for rights.
If I could offer one little aphorism to sum up my whole attitude toward investing in stocks, it would be this. In the stock market, the opportunity of a lifetime comes along about every 3 months. Now, I don't know who said that. I heard it somewhere, and I can't find who said that. I wish I'd said that. I heard this before I actually learned it, and it's true. This means that patience, buying businesses and not stocks, hard work, study, not speculation, resisting the FOMO urges, and shutting out the noise. That's what value investing is.
One thing that I've become very conscious of through this process, honestly, is that given the nature of your relationship with somebody, they only have a right to a certain part of you. They don't have a right to every aspect of you in every relationship you have. So there's something to me that's very intrusive, overstepping, wildly inappropriate about asking the sort of deep probing psychological questions that they are of an applicant to an institution of higher learning. Now, I understand that's a voluntary relationship and that she can and did just opt out of the process and step away. Nevertheless, given the nature of that institution and its identity and its purposes, and it still needs to be looked at. Is this an appropriate procedure to put people through? So I honestly think, I think they don't have, whatever their purposes, they don't have any right to ask of her all of her psychological, the deepest questions about her psychology.
I hear a lot of black belts talk about, hey, like your jujitsu journey just begins when you get your black belt, because now you finally have enough skills where you could start experimenting with other techniques and figuring other stuff out. So in other words, the body of jujitsu knowledge is not fixed, but it is an ever expanding kind of pie.
Yeah, and for anybody who doubts that, all you have to do is go to that UFC 1, watch a great teacher like Royce Gracie, dominate everybody with 3 techniques, and then go fast forward 30 years later and watch the extreme evolution of the techniques. It has literally picked apart every potential scenario that a person could confront, and it figures out a way to get around that. And you could also see that through Brenner Gracie's videos that he posts often with his wife, where they will take a scenario, a real life scenario, where say a woman gets beaten up in an elevator, can't move, or she gets kidnapped and pulled into a van, and they show you multiple ways to deal with that situation. That particular situation. Now, there's no self-defense class in the world that could give you that. There's no formal martial arts system that I know of that could give you that.
There's something there if I'm having an emotion. If my gut is kicking me, if I have a weird feeling, don't never, ever ignore that. There's something going on there. Your subconscious is trying to remind you of something. Now, it may not be right. It may be some traumatic experience that you improperly integrated from childhood or something. You can't totally rely on your emotions. You can't rely on your gut all the time. Sometimes it's leading you astray. But that inkling is really, I think, where it serves me the best. I'll get some feeling, I know there's something wrong there. That kind of smells fishy to me. And then I break it down and then yes, of course, it's I reduce it to this was an example of primacy of consciousness or social metaphysics. I knew it. It stunk to me from the outset, but I just couldn't initially identify what it was that was wrong about it. Conversely, something that's good, that sounds right. That sounds like it's onto something important. My subconscious, again, is telling me, give me an inkling. There is some integration that my mind has already done and stored away that's relevant to this. So never ignore it.